Welcome back to What Arty Noobs for General Disturbance. This is an AC4 experimental. It's a tier 6 Australian premium medium tank. It's located on the north spawn of Ruinberg, and this one is under the command of GenFUBAR of 1AR. And yes, I know there isn't an Australian tech tree, but there's only 2 Australian tanks in the entire game, and this is one of them. Of course, the other one is the AC1 experimental, no, the AC1 Sentinel, which of course has the famous gun port, or machine gun port, that looks like somebody's, protuberances. And yes, I don't know why it had that port, nobody's ever explained to me, but I have touched the one in the tank museum. Anyway, that aside, this thing has a 17-pounder gun, which is actually very powerful, capable of doing 150 alpha, 171mm pen with standard AP, and with the APCR, 239mm. And basically, it's the same gun that you'll find on the 555C. So it's well capable of taking down Tigers and dealing with enemy heavy tanks. Now, the Australians wanted a medium tank that was a little more powerful than the AC1 Sentinel, because of course that didn't have a very powerful gun. This one was a much more powerful gun. They had to enlarge the turret to fit the 17-pounder in. Now, they were going to build 400 of them, but the Americans came out with the M4, and the Australians decided, well, it was probably easier to start buying M4s than it would be to actually design and build 400 of this tank, and they went with the Americans instead. Okay, we've got tanks crossing the road. Oh, we got a fire! That guy's alight, and he's burning. Didn't get the third shot in. Did pick up a useful amount of hit points from that one, and that's a Thunderbolt. Okay, so he's got extra armor. Did penetrate him though. Got one in. Now there are enemy tanks just behind him actually. It's an AMX-13 F11. Now he managed to sneak past us, but we've been spotted, and that means we might start receiving rounds from the enemy in town, so we need to be careful because we're fully exposed here now. He's looking at that Easy 8, but he should be looking at the town. In fact, we just took a round from the Cheetu. It was a 75mm round, I think, as well. There's still a guy outside is just across the road. We might be able to get a shot, but it's probably best not to wander out straight side onto him like that guy, because otherwise you're going to get hit in the side. Now, the Australians didn't have any heavy industry for building tanks before the war. In fact, they did build tractors, but not tanks. So it was quite an innovation for them to actually come up with the AC1 Sentinel. But of course it just wasn't enough. They needed something much bigger to deal with the Japanese tanks. Even though they didn't know at the time that the Japanese didn't have that much in the way of heavy tanks at all. Because of course there's a general fight between the Army and the Navy always got the best steel. So the Army had to put up with whatever they could get. Yes, a lot of infighting between the Japanese Army and Navy. They hated each other. In fact, they probably hated each other more than they hated the enemy. That aside, this tank was actually quite interesting, quite innovative, you might say. It's much bigger than the AC1, and it's using many of the parts that you would actually have seen on the M3. You can see that the vertical bogies there, body spring suspension system. Of course, after the Second World War, a lot of British tanks that were actually purchased ended up going into the hands of private farmers and the like. So yes, a lot of British tanks are still around in Australia because the conditions actually suit their being retained and restored. And he couldn't get another shot into the Easy 8. He's just trying to see if there's any chance of getting a shot. Now Stug's moving up. Looks like he's going to drive straight in and shoot at that Easy 8. Meanwhile, there's a KV-1 to our left, and well, GenFUBAR's being quite conservative. Yeah, that Stug had the dirt gun, by the way. There's the KV-1. He is taking fire from our AMX. In fact, he's pointing in the AMX's direction. So keep shooting, keep pumping those rounds in. Standard reload is 4.78 seconds, I believe, per shot, and he's got a reload of 3.94. Keep pumping those rounds in as fast as you can, and he got the kill. So only one kill so far. The Stug's got 3, and the PP on our team's got 2 kills. So they've been quite busy. I get the feeling GenFUBAR's being a little cautious at the moment. You can see that most of our tanks, in fact all the tanks that went into the town, have been wiped out. And that puts the onus on us to actually return to our cap area and protect it. It looks like there's an M6 and a KV-1 headed that direction. In fact, some of the others are indicating those targets right now. But you can see GenFUBAR's actually headed for the enemy cap area. I hope he's right, because otherwise this could be a very, very short game when the enemy starts capping. He's going to pop down to this crossroads here and see. Can spot the enemy. The Achilles is behind a building. Can't shoot that guy. And he just needs to side scrape out on this corner. No, there's nobody there. Okay, so looking at the mini-map, he needs to get into town. I would go where the AMX ELC is at the moment and try and catch the enemy from behind. You'll see our T-3485M and our AMX. I've got no fear, but I'm afraid they're walking into a trap because that Achilles is still there. I don't want to go through the cap area because that actually gives us away. Unfortunately, the Achilles just killed our AMX, and now he gets killed by our T-34, who then gets killed in return by the Chi-2. So we are 2 up on the enemy. We were down on the enemy at one point, now we're 2 up. We've got 3 left. Well, it gets a pen with that shot, but we're more of a sniper tank because we really don't have the armor to stand toe-to-toe with the enemy. We do have a nice gun and an accurate gun, and that's why we're much better off sitting at a distance and sniping at the enemy. Well, I'm hoping he's actually changing his position to go around the enemy, because otherwise if we stay in the cap, it's going to draw the enemy back. And in fact, the M6 has gone all the way up the main road, and he's looking at our Stug Live up there. And remember, he's the one with the 90mm gun. We really don't want to face that. Not with his fire rate and our 17-pounder. Now, deal with this Chi-2. Get shots on him now. That's 1. He's a 2-shot now. We need to get 2 more rounds in. Oh, he failed on those 2. Trouble is, the Chi-2's gone behind that other building there at the end of the road. If we cross the main highway, we're going to take shots from that M6. There he is. Well, we bounced off his armor. We did get hit with a 90mm round. We need to go the other way round. Oh, he's gone the wrong way. It's unfortunate that. And now, well, the M6 has come round behind us. And he looks like he's chasing us, actually. No, you need to go up the ramp. Because the M6 is going to be coming around that corner any second. And we've taken a round from the Cheetah who saw us. And now the M6 is behind us. Well, we get one round into the M6. Well, we've lost our Fifi. And the enemy lost their Cheetah. Oh, he left another shot. Need to get this M6. Well, he got one shot in, but unfortunately the M6 appears to have got him. And now it's just the M6 facing our Bishop and our Stug. Under these circumstances, it's probably better for them to cap or hold our cap area and prevent the M6 from capping. So the Bishop needs to move up to the east side of the map, and the Stug needs to take up a position where he can see where the M6 is as he starts capping. And of course, if I am correct, he's got the 75mm gun, not the derp gun. The Bishop's got the 4.5-inch howitzer, so he can go to the edge of the map and shoot into the cap area. And seeing as the M6 is a one-shot, he'll probably only need one round just to finish the guy off. And you can see the Bishop is full health, but he's moving very slowly away from the cap area. In fact, I think he's backing up from the cap area at the moment. He needs to be on the east side of the map. Our Fifi is saying defend the base, which is correct. They should do that. They shouldn't try to steal the enemy cap, because if they do, the M6 will make it to the cap, even if both of them get in the cap at the same time. You'll just cut straight across. Stug nicely concealed. Of course, with that concealment, he would get spotted the moment he fires. And it looks like he's got the stock gun, because he's got a muzzle brake at the end. Of course, the top gun in the Stug 3, Aslains G, has no muzzle brake. Oh, he's got the derp gun. That's what he's got. He's got the 105mm. Well, it looks like he's abandoning the cap area. And the fact that the M6 hasn't gone to the cap kind of indicates that he is defending his cap area instead. But we can't be certain for sure. I still think defending our cap area is the easier way to get the win or the draw, because it would force the M6. But, well, he's left it too late. He can't cap out now, so he has to defend. And we're the only ones who could win if we get both into the cap, and he's probably counting on that now. Bishop is a bit out in the open. Oh, and that was the Bishop firing at his teammate. Oh no! He's just come straight into view. And the Bishop, the M6 sees, well, he saw him, and the Bishop's got no shot on him at the moment. Oh, and unfortunately the M6 did have a shot on the Stug and could see where he was. And now it's just the M6. Even though he's a one-shot, it's the M6 versus the Bishop. And if the Bishop player is good enough, he could be able to get that shot off in time to actually kill the M6. Now, are we switching to the other player? I hope we are. He's staying with the Stug at the moment. Oh, he's gone back to himself. There, he's with the Bishop now. And he's lost his gunner. You need to put the gunner back in. And I'm not sure he can. Well, he did get a hit, but unfortunately it wasn't enough. And that's the end of the game. Well, I'm afraid that one was a bit of a disappointment because we didn't get a win. We got a defeat. But it was a first-class tanker for GenFUBAR in the AC4 experimental. And it's the first time he's had a first-class winner, first-class tanker. He got a sharpshooter for getting 10 or more consecutive shots on the enemy, as well as a fire for effect for doing more damage than the hit points of his own vehicle. He got a bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. In fact, he got 9. And he got the high caliber for dealing the most damage in that game overall. His win rate was 4,668, which is super income standard. But sadly, he did make a few errors, and one of those was just getting too close to that M6 and his 90mm gun, because he was bound to get the better of him in the long run. He's a brawler when we're not. We're more of a sniper. We don't have the armor really to stand up to tanks like that at short range. Well, when we look at the team score, we can see that the highest damage in the game turned out to be GenFUBAR. He got 2,450 hit points of damage, and of course, he picked up the high caliber. Second highest damage was the Thunderbolt on the enemy team with 2,154, and the third highest damage turned out to be the M6, who got a Pescucci's medal for killing both enemy SPGs and 1,834 hit points of damage. When it came to kills, the next high scorer was, in fact, the Fifi on our team, the Stugtai Ausführung G with the Dirt Gun, and the M6. All got 4 kills apiece. 3 kills went to the Thunderbolt, and only 2 kills went to the Cheetu and the Achilles on the enemy team, the SU-100 on our team, and you can see GenFUBAR only got the 1 kill. When it came to base XP, you can see top scorer was the Thunderbolt with 1,178. Second place, the M6 with 1,040. They were the only 2 who managed to make it over 1,000 base, with third place going to the Cheetu and 719. And you can see GenFUBAR only got 620. He fired 23 rounds in the game, got 16 direct hits and 15 penetrations. Damage of 2,450, of which 845 were at more than 300 meters. Most of the shots that were fired down the central lane towards the tanks that were crossing. 6 hits received from the enemy, all 6 penetrated. I'm afraid the armor on this tank is not really strong, and it was not intended to be strong because, of course, most of the Japanese tanks were very lightweight, but mostly they had small arms, and the armor was light to actually enable this vehicle to move about freely on an M3 configuration, because it wasn't a very fast tank. It wasn't designed to be a very fast tank in the end. Because of course it was going to be used in the bush. It actually does have top speed of 60.4 kilometers an hour, but it takes a little while to build up to that speed. And the reason it's so that it is that speed is down to the fact that it does have very little armor. Only 65mm of armor at the front of the vehicle, and on the front of the turret and the hull. And also, well, in fact, all the way around the turret is 65mm, but it's still not enough against the sort of guns it might be coming up against. So he actually did receive 6 hits, 6 pens, 7 enemy vehicles damaged, 1 killed, and he got 5 hit points of damage assistance in the game. On a free-to-play account, he earned 63,029 credits from the game and 1,659 experience points out of the one as well. So, yes, a bit disappointing that it turned out to be a loss, but as I said, it's because he was a sniper taking on a brawler, and it didn't work out. But he did send us in another replay, so let's have a look at that one. The second replay is on the Overlord map, and we're on the South Spawn. Game on! Well, I think he's waiting to see where everyone's going before he makes up his mind about this deployment. You'll see very few have gone down onto the beach. Although the enemy has sent one heavy tank down onto the beach, the Crocodile. Both of our Arty have positioned themselves on the last chine down at the bottom, and we do have a heavy tank in the general area, so maybe he could fend off that. But I'm not sure. I think that Tiger 1 might be an AFK. It certainly might be an interesting move to go down, intercept that Crocodile, kill him, and then go all the way up the other end of the map. Trying to use his gun depression and shoot over the side of the vehicle. It does have 10 degrees of gun depression, of course, and of course that 17-pounder gun. That T-25-2 is going to be quite dangerous to our ARL, and yes, he has taken fire. He's not the only one here. There is a Strib 74 as well, and the Achilles just popped up and took a swing at these pair. In fact, actually, that T-25-2 is taking more than a bit of damage because he's being hit by Arty too. Nice shot.
Enemy armor is damaged.
Got a low roll. And again,
Penetration.
another low roll.
Track hit.
Unfortunately, we did take one hit there from the Strib. But I think it's fair exchange because we did 2 sets of damage to the T-78. Nice. He's a one shot. Always should have taken the kill. Somebody else got it. Yep, got the easy 8. Now go for it again. And again. Keep pumping those rounds in. Nice.
Armor is destroyed.
He's got his first kill. We could cut across. That's the enemy Arty. Yes, in fact, we lost the Achilles there. He was taken out by the GW Panther on the enemy team. And in fact, now they're moving to try and counter the fact that we're across. And look at our Hotchkiss go. I think he's after that enemy EBR. And now we've got the Strib. He's actually pulled back. That's the guy who hurt us a short while ago. I think the enemy are worried because we've actually pushed through on this side of the map. Got to watch out for that Strib. There he is. And in fact, there's 3 enemy tanks down there, including one of the Arties. Gets around into the Hummel, and he's gone. Strib is popping up again to have a quick look. There's the Hotchkiss. He's a one shot. Wait for him to pop up. He's too much in tunnel vision at the moment. No, just missed. Go for it. And again. We just seem to be missing him every time, but that one hit.
Enemy armor is damaged.
And again.
Penetration.
The Hotchkisses are fighting each other out. Need to come out of sniper view. He's using that ridgeline in his gun depression to try and get shots. He can't see us, obviously, and that's why he's having difficulty. Looks like the enemy Hotchkiss did go in the end. Now would be the time to move. The enemy has set that crocodile, did actually make it all the way up the upper end of the map, and he came up the chine. The tiger's gone, but we're abandoning this position to go back and try and deal with the crocodile. I'm wondering now, did he actually kill the Hotchkiss? Because it looks like the enemy Hotchkiss is actually down on the beach. Or at least he's come up the chine. Now, remember, this is snipers, so use the trees, use the cover. We've been spotted, so they know we're here. Go to the other tree. Knock the tree down. Ow. And now we're getting hit by the GW, and that will appear to be a direct hit on our engine bay. No, you needed to use those trees for cover to get as close as you could to the crocodile so you could attack him. This is very defensive play, and it's playing into the hands of the crocodile, actually. We're 2 down on the enemy now, and most of our team have had to come back to try and protect our cat area. You need to move forward. You can see he's facing off against the Hotchkiss. We've got huge numbers of our guys all down this end, and that's allowing the enemy free reign. And in fact, actually, we are actually now equal with the enemy, so we have actually recovered, even though. And there goes the crocodile. He missed out the chance of getting some hit points off the crocodile. Okay, take out the IS. Yeah, get him in the tracks. Drop black below the ridgeline. Sometimes I have to warn people that their play is too aggressive. Unfortunately, in this game, it's the other way around, and the same with the other one. You need to remember that the AC4 is more of a sniper, but if you're not sniping, you're not doing any damage, and therefore your gun's not actually helping the team. Needs to get the other side of the bowl to attack that 45 TP, and of course the T-3485. He's actually playing very, very cautious indeed. Too cautious. Well, the enemy GW Panther's been taken down. Well, he got the kill. Unfortunately, now he's coming up against an IS, and that's a heavy tank. Can't afford to brawl this guy, and now we just got clobbered by the T-3485M, who is a brawler. He's designed to do it. And we're being hammered by this guy. And he's been taken out again. I'm afraid the play is just too timid. Well, now we're with the A44. And I think he's probably more designed to actually deal with that IS, get rid of him, and then deal with the T-34-85. There's the IS. He decided not to shoot. Angling. Tempting the IS to shoot. And the T-34-85, one shot takes him out. Now it's just the IS. And he's going to have trouble with an A44. I think the Hotchkiss wants the kill. He knows he can get it. Here's the end of battle stats, and that was another first-class tanker for GenFUBAR in the AC4 experimental. He managed to get a duelist for taking down 2 tanks who damaged him, as well as a fire for effect for doing more damage to the hit points to his own vehicle, bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits, in fact he got 6, and he got a Confederate as well for hitting more of the enemy than anyone else on his team. And whilst his win 8 score was 5,210, which is Super Unicum standard, his play was very timid and he was actually holding back all the time, and that is where he was able to be ambushed by that T-34-85M who got the better of him, because of course that is a brawling tank. It's got the armor in the right places and a big powerful gun, more powerful than the 17-pounder and more capable. So yes, he did manage to take out GenFUBAR. I think actually that, you know, once he got shot at by the GW, he decided to go all passive, and that's where it worked against him. He was just too aggressive in the first game against the M6, and of course he didn't have the armor to stand up to an M6, whereas in this game he was too passive, and the enemy got the better of him on that. I think really you just need to remember this is more of a sniper tank, a bit like the Shure MV7X in a sense, because that's also a tank with no armor, but it does have a good gun, and so you can snipe at a distance with 4 shots. Whereas this thing, it's got the fast fire rate of the 17-pounder, but you really don't want to come up against a brawler tank because they will just have you over every day. So let's have a look at team score. Well, the highest damage in this game turned out to be the M4A1 FL10 on our team, who got a high caliber and tank sniper for 2,489 hit points. Excuse me. Second highest damage was the 45 TP on the enemy team, 2,247, and the third highest damage actually was GenFUBAR. Funnily enough, he got 2,166 hit points, and he did hit a lot of the enemy. Spent a lot of time in sniper view as well, which I thought was unhealthy because you didn't know what was coming up on your sides unless you're watching your minimap as much as often. You really need to be careful not to stay in sniper view for too long, because you might have to relocate quickly just in case somebody comes up and attacks you. When it came to kills, we can see the next highest scorer was, in fact, the Super Hellcat. 4 kills to the top scorer. 3 kills went to the 45 TP, 2 kills went to the M4A1 FL10 and GenFUBAR and the EBR Hotchkiss and the A44. They all got 2. And on the enemy team, just the GW Panther got 2 kills. And when it came to base XP, the top scorer was the M4A1 FL10 again. So he got the top there. Pardon me. And the Super Hellcat got the number of kill ones. And when it came to base XP, he also got the top, 1099, followed by the Hotchkiss, 1043. They were the only two who managed to make it over 1,000 base. And third place goes to GenFUBAR with 938. Excuse me, I've got the coughs today. Anyway, let's go to detail. 24 shots fired, 16 direct hits, 16 penetrations, 2,166 hit points of damage, of which 1,423 were at more than 300 meters. So that's more like it should be, that you're shooting at long range at enemy tanks as a sniper. 8 enemy hits received, 3 penetrations, 2 non-penetrations, and 3 hits by way of splash. One of those was very expensive. That was the GW Panther. In fact, I think he was actually hit twice by Arty during that game, but it was only a minor one earlier in the game, I believe. But it was the big one later on that actually made him go passive. And that T-3485M, of course, very, very dangerous to him, and managed to get him with 3 of those 85mm rounds. 8 enemy vehicles damaged, 2 killed, and he got 249 hit points of damage assistance. On a free-to-play account, he earned 58,517 credits and 2,532 experience points out of that one as well. So at least we got the win on the second game. I think he needs to work on this one because it's not, the results aren't that, he is getting medals, but he's not getting, staying alive to the end of the game. My recommendation would be to act more like a sniper, not a tank destroyer as such, but, you know, to move about, find the spots where you can actually snipe from and get the enemy with sniping shots. Keep changing position to avoid the enemy locating you or pinning you down to one spot, but don't try to brawl with the enemy because you just aren't built for it. So that's the problem with the AC4. And in fact, I think it was one of the reasons why they probably decided not to actually go ahead with the building, that they actually decided to buy the M4, because there were so many different versions of the M4 that they could actually have a version which was more like a brawler, like the Sherman Jumbo, or they could have an Easy 8 with the sniper gun, or they could just have the standard 75mm, which was good at destroying trucks and troop concentrations and that sort of thing. But this thing, well, with a 17-pounder gun, it's very good at sniping at the enemy. In that game, I think he could have gone down to the beach and sniped at that crocodile, so the crocodile never made it to the other end of the map. I think the crocodile would have had a hell of a difficult time trying to get across the beach. He's so big and lumbering and short view range, and coming up against a 17-pounder gun, I think he probably would have expired. But it just didn't work out in the end for GenFUBAR because of that T-3485M. Hope you enjoyed both of those 3 plays. If you did, please give this video a like. Do subscribe to our channel. Leave a little comment down below because it feeds the algorithm. And thank you for watching.